Rajon Rondo is getting paid $12 million this year. This year in the National Basketball Association. Next year, he is set to be paid $13 million. And then after that, he's going to be a free agent. Now, currently, he is not even top 5 for the highest rated revenue-wise point guards in the NBA for this upcoming year. He is number, want to take a guess, actually?
Oh, he's going to be 9.
9, that is correct. Did you look here?
No.
You can tell the truth.
I'm really not. I didn't look at all.
Okay, all right.
As Cenk Uygur, I'm excellent at guessing games. I always get numbers really close. Look it up.
All right, we'll prove it later. So, seriously, we will. So, Yahoo Sports put out an article saying, is he worth a max contract? Mm-hmm. They were comparing him to Chris Paul. And the biggest differences are, well, firstly, Magic Johnson-like. The Magic Johnson perspective of this is that Rondo has a ring. Chris Paul doesn't have a ring. However, when you look into it more and more, Chris Paul is a way better free throw shooter. He's above 80% for his entire career. He doesn't turn the ball over as much as Rajon Rondo has his last 3 years. Rondo's gone up from 3 to, I think, 3.4 to 3.8 per game, that is. What are the other, big things that you think of? Well, the differences, that is, first.
Between these two, it's the shooting percentage in general. I remember the year that they did win. Maybe it's because it was repeated to us over and over again by the analysts, but they kept saying, Rajon Rondo, they can leave him open for mid-range. He's not going to hit the shot, so they can lay off him. Once he drives, then you pay attention to him.
Yep.
But then at that point, that's any other point guard. Once they get there, they can do things. They can dish from that point once they penetrate it. But the mid-range jumper is very important, and he just didn't have it. Now,
he has the floater now.
Yeah, and after that year, I think you could tell he specifically worked on that aspect of the game because it's gotten a little better.
But it still hasn't improved, though.
That shows how bad it was. The fact that it's gotten better and it's still not good. Yeah. It's just better. So, to ask for a max deal maybe in a few more years after you've gotten your game up to that level, he's still young, But right now, but again, the contract is coming to an end. They've been looking for potential takers to trade him. And I think people are seeing that. It's hard, man. It sucks because I think he's a good player. I like Rajon Rondo.
I do too.
But that's a big aspect. And I think the article mentioned three-point shooting. It's not as important to me for a point guard.
It's not?
You
really?
Definitely you need to hit open jumpers. But three-point shooting,
What about the assist numbers? Is that the most important to you?
Yeah.
When you're a point guard?
Yeah.
Star point guard, not like a Marco Jaric.
And it has to be pretty, we always know, it's assist and turnover ratio. That's what you judge point guards on. So we're talking about his turnovers. His assists have to be up there because at least you're producing other points in other ways. Okay.
So is Russell Westbrook worthy of a max contract? If you're talking assist to turnover ratio,
right?
And what do you think about that?
But he scores, man. That's the difference. The problem is Russell Westbrook is a two-guard.
Playing point guard.
That's just the way it is. So you can't expect him to play like a point guard because he's not.
Very quickly, the reason Yahoo decided to compare these two is because Paul's talents are more similar to Rondo's than probably any other player in basketball. Also quoting Yahoo Sports, in Rondo's career, he has taken far fewer than half the number of field goal attempts in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes or less to go in the game than Chris Paul has. But Paul and other elite point guards are shooting at a higher rate. What does he, go ahead.
A lot of times with numbers like that, when they say in the fourth quarter, he doesn't shoot his free throws, all those things, I begin to gloss over when I hear those kinds of stats. And those are the numbers guys for sports. I get it. You guys are useful, but I hate you. You change the whole idea of the game. There's a reason why he shoots less. You know why he shoots less? Maybe because what do his assist numbers look like in the fourth quarter? What are his foul issues in the game sometimes? And maybe that's something he needs to work on.
You want to know who you sound like?
But you know what?
You sound like an old dude who tries to get into baseball games with a straw hat and his pipe. And they're saying, what's with the sabermetric thing? You sound like Hawk Harrelson is what you sound like.
They're misleading.
Old school thought.
Yeah, because it's misleading. If this game,
the
game is the game. You can't just look at numbers and then blatantly think, oh, this guy just falls apart in the fourth quarter. Other factors make those numbers go down.
Look at Moneyball with the Oakland A's. They decided to integrate sabermetrics into their team. And then it was a domino effect of every team doing it. Once again, proof is in the pudding.
Well, I don't know anything about sabermetrics. You're talking about something I'm not familiar with.
Not even on-base percentage. How they hit throwing a fastball in this count instead of a curveball.
Sabermetrics, this is their tracking system for how people do it?
It is an integrated statistics system that can help you win games. And hopefully, I'm sure they've already done it. I mean, we haven't seen that much attention drawn to it as much as baseball, but I hope they integrate it into basketball.
So if you notify Rajon Rondo that his numbers from the free throw line drop in the fourth quarter, he's just going to start doing it differently. I think he realizes that he falls apart in certain parts of the game. But just because, so if you say, by the way, Rajon, you know last year in the fourth quarter, you shot way less free throws. Maybe he's more assists. Maybe he doesn't have the ball as much. Maybe no one's fouling him because he can't hit a fucking jump shot. Nobody's guarding him.
Factual evidence. Kevin Durant has his own sabermetrics team, and he practices on his biggest weaknesses. So like elbow. What was his biggest weakness? I think in the last report I read, it was elbow fadeaways. He was shooting a very low percentage, and then he just worked on them.
Right, you work on that part of your game, but when you say someone isn't getting to the free throw line, the reason you get to the free throw line is someone has to foul you. That's nothing you work on in the gym. Someone has to foul you.
Well, his free throws are bad. I mean,
that's the thing. Yeah. You work on your free throw shooting. That's what I'm saying. There's caveats to this argument. I'm not saying that you can't notify yourself of what's wrong and fix it, but some of these things are affected by someone outside of you. Someone has to foul you.
No, I understand, but he could also improve his free throw percentage.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, he shoots what, 64? That's
62. Chris Paul shoots 86. Now we're getting back to the Chris Paul, Rajon Rondo. Points per game in their career. Rajon Rondo, 11.1 points per game. 24% from three, which you don't take into account. Chris Paul, nearly 19 points per game at 18.6, 36% from three. Total points, Rajon Rondo, 5,251. Chris Paul, 10,311. Steals, Chris Paul, 1,331. I can read. Rajon Rondo, 913. You thought...
Are they both in the league the same amount of years or something?
1 year difference.
1 year difference, okay.
Yep. But so Rondo's had to deal with, obviously, the injury towards ACL, and he missed a few games.
That, actually.
Yeah.
These are the concrete reasons why, of course, he shouldn't get Chris Paul money. No, he's not as good as Chris Paul.
Okay.
If you had to choose, I don't think anyone should make that argument and say, so...
$21.4 million.
Who would you rather start having your point guard, Chris Paul? I mean, it's pretty obvious.
But you don't think he's deserving of a max contract?
No.
Really?
No. Again, like I said...
When he hits free agency, he's not worthy in 2 years.
No, because I mean, at that point, and then especially, he's going to get paid more than the guys who are better than him. And it's just the money.
Who's better than him?
Chris Paul, we just keep talking about.
Well, Chris Paul's a given.
Tony Parker, obviously.
Chris Paul, 21.4 million. Darren Williams, 19.7. Derrick Rose, 18.8. Russell Westbrook, 15.7. Tony Parker, 12.5. Ty Lawson, 12. Tyreek and Steph, 11 each. And then Drew Holiday is 10.25.
There's no reason Tony Parker should be making
Ty Lawson.
And Ty Lawson, but they're both making 12. No reason either one of those two should be making $12 million. But maybe they're coming up on the contract season. I don't know. Tony Parker's now getting old.
Sure.
That's going to be hard. But all these guys are better than Rondo.
So is it just me? Am I the only one that thinks he's deserving of a max contract?
You've just made the whole argument why he shouldn't.
Yeah, I know I have. But yet when I watch him play, it is, look, on the graceful scale, he's off the fucking charts. He makes passes that I made maybe once in my life. He impacts the game in different ways, maybe more negatives than positives because of his free throw shooting and his field goal percentage, and because defensive guys don't have to really pay attention to him, even by the free throw line, you could make a case for. Obviously, he shoots 62%, but I mean, standing jumpers. However, he makes his teammates better.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think he has a chance. Right now, we're thinking what we know about him right now. It says free throws, I don't know what his holdup is with shooting free throws, or if he just doesn't practice them, or if he practices them and just doesn't have the right form. I don't know what his problem is. But if he gets that up, if he gets his shooting percentage up, which we already said he did slowly, but surely, he'll deserve it in a couple of years. But it looks like, I think he's up in the next 2 years. Is when
2 years.
Yeah, next 2 years. I don't know if that's enough time. I don't know if he can rapidly change his pace right now, but I'm always for athletes getting as much money as they can. I'm not against that at all.
He's gonna get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to also because at that point, if you want to take him, you have to give it to him, right? You're gonna give him less.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna give it to him.
I think the Celtics probably want him to go when free agency
hits. Seems like it. I mean, at this point, and I know people always have to say, I know it's a business. Yeah, it's a business. But if you've been getting teased out there as bait for the last 2 seasons, you're probably like, okay, just
bait.
Let me go.
How's he been bait?
Well, they put him out there on the trading block. If you want to take him, you guys. Hey, we got any takers? They're putting him out there.